Do you know the story of Sisyphus, the cunning king who dared to outwit the gods not once but twice and paid the ultimate price for his trickery? His tale is a timeless reminder of how even the most clever of mortals cannot escape the hands of fate forever. But what led Sisyphus to such divine wrath? How did his wit save him, only to condemn him to an eternity of suffering? Stay with me, and I'll take you on a journey through deceit, chaos, and an unforgettable punishment that echoes through the ages. Sisyphus, the shrewd and ambitious king of Corinth, was a man admired for his cunning but feared for his deceitful ways. His mind was as sharp as a blade, but his heart brimmed with pride, and he wielded his wit like a weapon. When Thanatos, the god of death cloaked in shadows, arrived to claim his soul, Sisyphus welcomed him with a polished smile and a bow as deep as a winter's night. "I go willingly, Thanatos," he spoke, his voice as smooth as river stones, every word wrapped in practiced grace. "But before I depart, let me honor you with a gift. Iron chains forged in the fires of my gratitude, a humble token of respect." Thanatos, whose eyes held the darkness of 1,000 forgotten tombs, paused. Suspicion flickered, but Sisyphus's charm was a well-set trap. The god relented, extending his wrists, the chains clinking coldly as Sisyphus wrapped them around. But as the last link fastened, Thanatos' eyes widened, his strength ebbing away, leaving him a prisoner ensnared by mortal cunning. Death itself was chained, bound in iron, and stripped of power. The world above fell into chaos. Warriors on blood-soaked battlefields clashed endlessly, their wounds refusing to bleed out the last breath of life. The old, burdened with pain, lingered in unrelenting agony, unable to find the peace of the afterlife. Crops withered, yet no farmer fell. Sickness ravaged bodies, yet none crossed the threshold to the other side. "What madness is this?" the mortals cried, eyes searching the heavens, while the gods themselves stirred uneasily. With Thanatos bound, no mortal could meet death. Warriors clashed endlessly on blood-soaked fields, their cries echoing through a world where no victory nor defeat could be claimed. The old and weary lay in their beds, souls trapped in decaying shells, longing for rest that would never come. The gods fumed at the chaos. Ares, god of war, was livid. "This world is unbalanced," he roared, his voice cracking like a tempest through the heavens. His eyes blazed with fury as he descended to earth, his presence like a wildfire scorching the sky. Ares stormed into the realm of the living, flames dancing in his wake, and found Thanatos, chains glinting like dark serpents. With a single stroke, he shattered the bonds, and the god of death was freed. Grabbing Sisyphus, Ares' hand clamped down like a vice on the king's arm. "You have defied the natural order," he declared, his grip biting deep. Sisyphus, though trembling, forced a smile. "Have mercy, Lord," he said, his voice honeyed with deceit, his mind already plotting. Before his descent into the underworld, Sisyphus grasped his wife's hand and whispered, his voice low and urgent, "Do not perform the rites to honor my passing." The shadows deepened around him as he was taken to Hades' somber realm, where darkness clung to every corner and a cold, eternal stillness filled the air. Standing before Persephone, queen of the underworld, he raised his voice, trembling with feigned sorrow. "My wife has wronged me," he lamented, his eyes glistening with tears that were but a trick. "She has shown no respect, no rituals to send my soul in peace. I beg of you, grant me leave to correct this insult and ensure my proper burial." Persephone's gaze softened, her heart moved by what seemed genuine grief. "Very well," she said, her voice gentle as twilight. "Go and make amends, but return swiftly." Sisyphus bowed low, hiding a sly smile, and once back in the world of the living, the sun's warmth on his skin felt sweeter than freedom itself. With a laugh that echoed through the hills, he reveled in his escape. "Return to Hades?" he scoffed. "Never, while I still draw breath." Free once more, Sisyphus lived for many years, reveling in the sweetness of freedom. But the gods do not forget, nor do they forgive. Hades, lord of the underworld, grew impatient. Shadows thick with cold crept from his realm, and his servants came to drag Sisyphus back, their grip like iron shackles, merciless and firm. This time, there was no escape, no clever trick to turn the tides. The underworld swallowed him whole, its darkness vast and unyielding, the air heavy with sorrow and the scent of ancient stone. Deep in the pit of Tartarus, Sisyphus awaited his fate. Hades appeared, his eyes like embers, voice rolling through the gloom. "You think yourself clever," he intoned, each word like a chill wrapping around Sisyphus's soul. "But even you cannot defy eternity." Sisyphus shivered, the weight of his own pride pressing down as he beheld his punishment. A massive boulder, gleaming cold and unrelenting. The silence was broken only by his whisper, ragged and resigned. "So be it." Sisyphus was condemned to heave a colossal boulder up a mercilessly steep hill. The stone weighed upon him like the judgment of the gods, making his sinews burn and his breath come in ragged, anguished gasps. Each step up the unyielding slope sent tremors through his legs, and the grit beneath his feet crumbled treacherously. But just as he approached the summit, so close he could feel the faint hope of release, the boulder slipped free from his grasp. It crashed down the hill, shattering the silence with a thunderous roar, and he was left to descend, defeated, and begin again. The air of Tartarus clung thick and suffocating, heavy with the acrid scent of sulfur and ancient dust. Shadows writhed like silent specters, whispering mockery at his plight. Sisyphus's hands, once the hands of a king, smooth, adorned with gold, were now blistered and raw, marred by endless labor. His spirit, once unbreakable, wavered under the weight of his punishment. "Will this torment never end?" he murmured, his voice a dry rasp, lost to the darkness. Yet even as his heart wavered, a flicker of defiance lingered in his weary eyes. With each failed attempt, the weight of his own arrogance pressed heavy upon him. The boulder loomed, more than mere stone, a cruel emblem of his unending toil, of a life spent scheming against the will of the gods. Muscles burning and breath ragged, Sisyphus leaned into the rock, his hands raw and torn, the rough granite biting into his flesh. The air around him hung thick and stale, carrying the scent of dust and the echoes of his own labored breathing. As he pushed, his mind drifted to the days he had cheated death, to the triumph he once wore like a crown. "Ah, how clever I was," he whispered, the memory sharp as a dagger. But here, in this pitiless land of shadows, pride had crumbled to exhaustion, and wit had eroded into hopelessness. Yet, even now, a flicker of defiance lit his eyes, a spark that fate could not smother. "I will push," he murmured, the words both curse and comfort, a promise to himself that the gods could never take away. The tale of Sisyphus leaves us pondering the human spirit, our eternal struggle against forces we cannot control. It speaks to the futility of resisting fate, yet also to the stubborn resilience that defines us. Sisyphus may have been condemned, but his story endures, a reminder of the balance between human ingenuity and divine will. As we face our own boulders in life, we are left to wonder, is it the struggle itself that gives life meaning, or is it the hope that one day the boulder might stay at the top?